Communications Minister Khumbudzo Ntshavheni has announced government's plan to speed up the digital broadcast migration program. So, after almost a decade of delays, the minister says all analog television broadcast signals will be switched off by March of next year. The simultaneous switch-off will take place across all provinces, with the Free State slated to be the first to be completed. Indigent households have until the end of this month to register for a free set-top box. Electronic communications lawyer Justine Limpitlaw joins us now to unpack exactly what this means for you and I. Justine, thanks very much for your time this morning. I mean, are we to understand that we're switching off the analog signal? What then happens to people who depend on free-to-air broadcasts to watch the news, to stay in touch?
What a very excellent question, Michelle. What indeed does happen to them? And even the minister has said that only 37% of the analog transmitters for the SABC have been able to be switched off so far, and for ETV it's just 4%.
Sure.
It's inconceivable that within 6 months they're going to be able to have migrate onto a terrestrial free-to-air digital platforms. 63% of the SABC's viewers and 96% of ETV's viewers. I mean, essentially, I think what has happened here is that there is a recognition that the DTT process has been a complete failure, actually. And now what's happening is that the minister is essentially herding South Africans into being forced, I think, to go for a satellite direct-to-home option. So the big winners here are the already enormously powerful players such as DSTV and the very small players such as OpenView HD and StarSat.
I mean, is it possible? Is it going to happen? Because let's face it, we've been here before, haven't we? We've had these false starts for a number of years now.
We've had false starts. We've never had a line in the sand drawn about when the analog switch off will take place. And they're saying now it's going to happen in March next year. I have to tell you, I can't see how that can happen. ETV, for example, and the SABC have contracts in place with Centec. Who is going to order the switch off? Is the minister going to order Centec to switch those off? Is the minister going to try to order ICASA? And remember, ICASA is a Chapter 9 institution. It's supposed to regulate broadcasting in the public interest. Where does ICASA stand on all of this? It must know that this is really the death knell, I think, for free-to-air terrestrial television. What is it going to say? At the moment, there's just been silence. Everyone is scrambling because the future is digital. That's clear. We need digital broadcasting. But more importantly, and I think a number of people don't realize this, we can never get mobile broadband cheap, 100% access for people unless there is migration out of the analog broadcasting bands, because the plan is that spectrum is then going to be made available to the mobile telco operators to be able to provide mobile broadband services. And that's where the real pressure is coming from. We have hugely expensive data. But the government has mishandled this so spectacularly. And I'd be very surprised, for example, if the SABC engaged in litigation, because it would mean suing its own line minister, which I think is tricky. But I would be very surprised if this isn't challenged in court by ETV and, frankly, by civil society organizations who have public broadcasting at heart, for saying, how on earth do you switch off the people who only have access through free-to-air television.
Yeah. So the minister also saying that you can get a free set-top box. We're told until the end of the month. You've got until the end of this month to register for a free set-top box. Where would I then get that free set-top box from?
Well, apparently you're going to go to your local post office.
And is that
that bastion of excellent public service, who are apparently there thousands and millions, in fact, of set-top boxes somehow in the back, perhaps among the packages. The other thing is, of course, that people have been able to register that for a very, very long time, and people haven't. Maybe maybe now this will be a sufficient stick to be able to do it. But what happens if they don't? Certainly, I mean, I don't know if you're in game or macro. It's not like I've seen huge piles of DTT receiver set-top boxes available for sale in the retail space. Where are they?
And Justine, have we communicated to people that these are the steps that you need to be taking, and this is why we're doing this migration? Is there enough of a communication campaign so people understand what they need to be doing if the deadline is the end of this month?
I mean, I throw the question back at you.
I haven't seen anything.
A member of the public.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
It's just, we just keep hearing, we keep hearing these. First of all, we're going to have migrated by the 2010 World Cup. Then it'll definitely be done by 2012. Then don't worry, we're not going to miss the ITU deadline in 2015, which sort of came and went over the horizon. And we're in 2021. Now they're saying there's just going to be a hard deadline. But there's other countries imposed the switch off when they had already ensured the proper take-up, so that a substantial majority, not just a majority, a substantial majority had access to digital television set-top boxes straight away. As I've already said, we're looking at 63% of SABC viewers on free-to-air unmigrated, and 96% of ETV. I think it's essentially what it is, in my view, it's government deciding, first of all, not taking responsibility for the mess at all, and somehow lauding DSTV as coming to the rescue of free-to-air television, which really is not what is happening. What is happening here is that the market conditions have been such that they have utterly favored subscription broadcasters over free-to-air broadcasters. And the free-to-air broadcasters really are being thrown to the wolves here. The complete mess on the part of government is going to be felt by our public broadcaster and ETV. It's desperately unfortunate, and I cannot think of another example worldwide where this has been done quite so badly.
So free-to-air broadcasters thrown to the wolves, and another instance where the poor in our country are the biggest losers. I think, Justine, just for some background for our viewers who are watching and are trying to understand the reason for migration, why are we migrating? What is the reason behind it?
So there are two reasons. First of all is that digital broadcasting is better. The picture's better, the sound's clearer, and more importantly, you can have way more television services on a frequency than you can under analog. It's just way more efficient from a spectrum point of view, and I do understand that many members of the public don't understand this. Although you can't see it, the broadcasting frequency spectrum is a finite physical resource. There's only this much of it. If you use it up, you use it up. There's no more. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have efficiency. But more importantly, the spectrum that is currently used by analog broadcasters, particularly for television, is the spectrum that is needed for the mobile telcos to be able to provide fast broadband internet access. And if they get access to that spectrum, they will be able to, the thinking is they will be able to significantly drop data prices to make universal access to the internet a reality. That is a vital public goal. The government is not wrong to push hard for that to happen. That's absolutely vital. It must happen. But it should have happened on the basis of a properly managed transfer to digital terrestrial technology. Instead of this wholesale collapse, what you're seeing is government throwing its hands in the air and saying, sorry, we can't do it. Everyone just, if you can, register within the next month. There are 14 million households. Register in the next month for your free set-top box, and otherwise try and migrate yourself by finding a set-top box somewhere. Good luck with that. Or going to DSTV or HD OpenView or StarSat or one of those. It's devastating for the public. It's devastating for the public broadcaster, which is a vital institution for the health and well-being of our democracy. And it's catastrophic for ETV. I just can't see how it isn't. And unfortunately, it just comes off the back, as you know, from what we've heard at Zondo, comes off the back of very weird shenanigans around the whole digital migration issue and Cloudy Motsoeneng's relationship and agreements on some of those issues with MultiChoice at the time. So the whole thing really has been catastrophically badly handled. This is a real, if you want a physical demonstration of the damage that the Zuma years have done for the country, this move to DTT personifies it.
Is one of it. Justine Limpitlaw, let me thank you for your time this morning, really outlining the importance of this migration, but how incredibly badly it's been handled. It's a big story that we're tracking for you here on the channel. Justine is an electronic communications lawyer joining us via our video link this morning.